Bit of a further update on these diamond cheapos from China. We've managed to get the pin out. This is the actual center insulator. You have to heat it up to get it out. Believe it or not, this is actually screwed in. So it's actually threaded in. And obviously each one of these threads have all got glue on them. So you can't just unthread them, you have to heat them up to get them out. But as you can see, the black piece at the top's threaded, but then the whole tube comes out. But yes, you do need to heat it up. As you can see, it's got this glue, they put this glue on the thread. But you can see that comes out as basically just an aluminium tube threaded at both ends, both the same thread. And this is the base. So as you can see, it's a very thin piece there. It's made out of brass, so they can... There we are, focused. You can see it's soldered there. That's the other side of the coil they solder onto the base. And that's the thread inside for the center dielectric for the base. So that's that. This is the coil. As you can see, it looks, I mean, it's a very neatly wound coil for a fakey jobby. The capacitor on here says 6R8. The quality of the camera, I don't think it's going to pick it up in the glare on the capacitor, but it says 6R8. Which is, I don't know, 0.6 nanofarad, or could it be 6.8 something? Obviously, that little brass pin there, had to shear that when I was trying to get it out. Now that I know how they're actually put together, as I say, they'd be easier to come apart. But again, the top of the coil there is actually shorted out, so that last winding isn't in the equation, which is that half winding, I guess. Not the same on the bottom, but I mean, what we got one, let's put it that we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 10th half one shorted out, so well, it's a half one, so it's 9. It might be 10, 9.5, maybe 10. And then you've obviously got the capacitor, and that's soldered on to halfway around. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's on the 5th coil, halfway round. So that's probably 4.5. Diameter-wise, I mean, what's that? Half inch, maybe 10 mil diameter. Obviously, as I say, we can do some measurements on this at another time, which is for another video. But obviously, as you can see, that goes on to there, and that was soldered onto the thin edge of that. It's nice and thin, so obviously it can be soldered. And that went onto there. Obviously, the plastic dielectric went onto there, if you can see that. See if I can just temporarily get that to stay, because I'm doing it one-handed. That went over like so, obviously over the edge of that, down to the thingy-bob. Obviously this will be all pushed in, and the other end of the capacitor goes in to the central electrode, or central pin, plugs into your connection socket. Which obviously fitted into the center of the dielectric. So to be fair, this antenna cost £20 from China, including delivery, 7,900. The base is pretty well made for £20, to be perfectly honest. Made a mess of it taking it apart, of course, but you know, hey ho. One has to figure out how it is. And it's obviously all glued together, so the only way that you can break the joints of these Ali threads, particularly on the bottom portion here, is by heating it up. And obviously then you can break the threads apart because it releases and burns the glue. Obviously this here, that's screwed in to the base again. Once you get the tube portion off, you can get to this, desolder that piece, and then take off this bit. Obviously desolder the pin, which I didn't do. Desolder the pin, oops, and then grab a hold of the plastic piece and you're able to turn it, which is what I didn't. I managed to get it a little bit too hot, and well, you know, as you can see, it you know, clean the threads out. You can make a new one of these out of acetyl machinable plastics, and then cut a thread in it. I haven't figured out what the thread is yet. There's the same more videos to come on it. You can obviously make yourself your own pin. You could try gold plate it. You get a gold plating kit. Try and gold plate it yourself if you want to, or you could steal another pin out of something else, but you could reuse the original pin, to be perfectly honest with you. Nothing wrong with that. Clean it up and sort that out. So yeah, that's pretty much the base. So I don't know. It's for a £20 antenna. It's not badly built. Could do with a bit more solder and, you know, stuff, but yeah, you could tune that, and that could make quite a reasonably good antenna. So yeah. Obviously this was the one that didn't have the fancy font. The other sort of fakeish one, which I've got here, as you can see, actually has the label on it with the fancy Super Gainer font. So yeah, again, just give me a moment. If I can get it off. There we go. That is the inside of it. This one has had some thread locker on it, but it hasn't had as much glue placed on it, oddly enough. There's a bit more solder on the top of this one, so there's variations, and this is what's strange. There is some variations. Down in the crevice down there, you can see it is actually still the same thing. It's joined together. Same pin. Obviously, on the previous one, I took the red rubbery bit out. But yeah, same sticky label, just different font. This one seems to have had a little bit more solder for the brass portion on the top. And this one's got a ledge on it. I think the previous one... No, the previous one had a ledge like that on it as well. So it's the same plastic parts. But, yeah. Okay, well, yeah, so that is basically it. That's what you get with them. And that's how they come apart. Difficult to get them to come apart all in one piece so you can assemble it perfectly back together. But I can't see how the so-called genuine ones you pay £100 for would be particularly, I mean, yeah, okay, better production line and QC and level of quality, I guess, in the finishing, but they do seem to be the same parts. So yeah, okay, that's just a quick update on the base area, so you can get an idea of what's inside there and what comes as a £20 antenna, because that's what this costs, 20 quid. This one here came from Ireland, actually, supplier in Ireland, and this one was only £18, but I had to pay postage on it, which brought it up to 20 quid. So yeah, that one was postage included from China, Shanghai. But yeah, not bad. Anyway, 7 threes. Be back later.